September 19th, 1961. According to news accounts, Betty and Barney Hill were driving through New Hampshire late at night when a large flying saucer rapidly approached them and then hovered over their car. They saw strange figures through the windows of the craft. And mysteriously, the couple also reported complete memory loss of the 2 hours immediately following the encounter.
No one really knows to this day what Betty and Barney Hill saw. However, the details of their case do reflect on various other versions of alien abduction. I say alien abduction because some of the pieces of information that they discuss, the loss of time, seeing beings that actually came out of this craft and associated and interacted with them, and they weren't human.
Ultimately, under hypnosis, they recall being brought out of the car and taken aboard the ship, that it was a legitimate abduction, and that Betty pleaded with her captors, if you will, that not to harm her as she laid on this table and experiments were done on her, like a needle being inserted into her stomach. Barney relates a number of skin samples and sperm being taken from him.
The beings described by Betty and Barney Hill fit the classic case of a gray. Now, there are variations to size and dimensions of these beings, but they all seem to have the same characteristics. Slim, spindly bodies, large oval heads, large oversized eyes.
The Hills were the first documented case of an alien abduction in modern time. But it is not the last. Since the 1960s, there have been many more similar reports, including that of Kim Carlsberg, a commercial photographer, who in 1988 claimed to have been abducted by gray aliens in the middle of the night.
We were living on the beach in Pacific Palisades, and I walked up to the window and I saw this light on the horizon that I'd never seen before. You know, I'd lived on the beach my whole life, and it wasn't a boat and it wasn't a star. I just watched this craft. The next thing I knew, it jetted into the stars and disappeared, and I went to bed as usual. I woke up in the middle of the night and I was not in my bed any longer. I was naked and I was paralyzed. The beings I saw were about 3.5 feet tall. They were naked. They were off-white. They were not gray. They had huge heads, huge wrap-around black eyes, tiny little bodies.
There are many stories of grays abducting humans into their spaceships, and even of being inseminated with alien reproductive material and then conceiving human-alien hybrid babies and having those fetuses removed from their bodies and then grown on the alien spaceships. In some cases, people report going back onto the spaceship and being able to see these hybrid offspring.
I was being used for my DNA. They were creating hybrid children from my eggs, someone else's sperm, and combining it with their DNA and their sperm. I would be implanted with an alien fetus, and they would leave the fetus in my body for a few months. Then they would bring me back again later, and then they would remove it. It was horrific. It was terrifying.
You can't have so many people saying that they've been abducted and not have some possibility of truth with that. I think it's happening. I don't know if it's a hybridization program for these ETs or whether they're trying to bring these hybrids back to this planet one day when the environment changes. But in my opinion, something very strange is happening to these people who claim to be abducted.